Hello, everyone. We're back to our discussion on bipolar disorder. So last time, on the last video on bipolar disorder, we talked a bit about bipolar 1. So today I want to talk a bit about bipolar 2 disorder, which is a little bit different than traditionally what we understand as bipolar disorder. So bipolar 2 disorder means that there is an occurrence of something called hypomania and the occurrence of depressive symptoms. So if you can recall from the last video, the symptoms of mania are the exaggerated sense of feeling really happy and thinking, you're the greatest person in the world, the decreased need for sleep, talkativeness, scattered thoughts, like racing thoughts, can't talk fast enough to get them out, distractibility, restlessness or intense need to do things, impulsivity, and risk-taking. All of those are also symptoms of hypomania. It simply means that they occur at a less intense level than mania. So a diagnosis of mania is impairing. So it makes it difficult or almost literally impossible for a person to work, to carry on with their life. It debilitates them for a period of time while they're manic. Whereas hypomania, people can function with hypomania. So, your coworkers, let's say they may recognize, something's kind of odd here. They're kind of acting different, or, they're really over the top this week, but they're still able to function in their day-to-day life. Now, the bipolar 2 also includes a depressive symptom, so symptoms of major depression. So this one is a little more of the highs to lows that we expect. Bipolar 1 can be really highs to really lows, or it can be normal to really high. Whereas normally when we think of bipolar, we actually think more of hypermania and then the drop to depression, and not a return to normal baseline function instead of the depression symptom. So for most of us, we're kind of familiar a bit with the symptoms of depression because that's something that's a little more commonly diagnosed than bipolar disorder. So when we're looking to diagnose depression, we look for changes in weight or appetite. So someone who is depressed may eat a lot and gain weight. They may stop eating altogether and lose weight. It can go either direction depending on the person. You can get too much sleep all the time, have trouble getting out of bed, feel really, really heavy, or there can be insomnia. So a lot of people, they may still be lying in bed, but they're awake, feeling really down, feeling like their world is falling apart, and just really focusing on the negatives of what's happening and feeling pretty hopeless. There's also either restlessness or sluggishness. So someone who is depressed may be unable to be still. They may be moving around a lot. They may have kind of this directionalist, like, okay, I'm going to walk over here, and then I'm going to walk over there, and then I'm going to walk back again. And there doesn't really seem to be the ability to just be still and engaged. However, there can also be sluggishness. So you just don't want to do anything. You want to sit in your chair all day. You're not maybe watching TV. You're just kind of existing. And there can be very little movement of any sort because of the depression. There's a loss of energy. So people feel tired all the time. They may be getting 16 hours of sleep and they get up and they're still tired. There's often feelings of worthlessness, feelings of guilt. So, I'm an awful person. I'm the worst person in the world, or I've done this horrible thing, or I'm a drain on my family, or these sorts of things. There can be difficulties with attention, or you can be really indecisive. So when a person is experiencing a major depression, they're not going to want to make decisions. They're not going to think they're even capable of making decisions. They may just not be able to focus on what's going on around them at all because they just don't have the energy, and they may just not care. And there can be thoughts or plans of ending one's own life. So this is something that we see often in major depressive disorder, but also seen in bipolar 2 disorder when they're in that stage of depression where nothing really seems to make anything feel better, and it feels like the world is falling apart around them, and it's going to stay like this for the rest of their life. Now, bipolar disorder in general can be treated by a few different classes of medication, but bipolar is something that, for the majority of people diagnosed with it, will need some kind of medical intervention. There are some people who learn to manage their symptoms, but it takes a lot of therapy, a lot of practice, a lot of work, and often at the beginning they do end up on medication just to stabilize things while they're learning strategies and techniques to manage it. So it's very, very rare that someone is completely unmedicated and able to maintain some type of quality of life. So you're looking at kind of some of the more traditional medications. I mean, everybody thinks of, say, lithium for bipolar. That's something that's been a bit of common knowledge for a long time, but there's also things like mood stabilizers, that sort of thing. So if you are thinking that you may have bipolar in some way, shape, or form, then definitely go into your doctor or speak to a psychiatrist so that they're able to get you on some medication to help regulate those moods so that you are able to have a happy, healthy, and productive life. The one thing I think that I want to tack on the end that I often see when people come and ask me, well, do you think this is bipolar disorder, is that it is normal for us as human beings to have a certain amount of emotional variation in our day. Some days we're going to be a little more up, some days we might be a little more down. So if you are someone who's noticing a bit of moodiness, or you're just kind of happy one minute and then kind of low and sad the next, that doesn't necessarily mean that you would qualify for bipolar disorder. It can be a lot of things. So before you jump right to thinking that might be the case, I would definitely explore some of the more common disorders that can cause those types of mood fluctuations. And if you're not sure, talk to your doctor, talk to a qualified mental health professional, and we can definitely help you sort out what's going on. But general shifts in mood definitely don't qualify you for bipolar, which for a lot of people can be good news, because bipolar disorder can be a very challenging disorder to medicate and to live with. So hopefully that is helpful and explains a little bit more about this diagnosis. I'm hoping to touch on schizophrenia over the next couple of videos and bringing a little bit of understanding to what that actually means, because schizophrenia is one of those diagnoses that there's a lot of misconceptions about. So I'm planning to clear those up a little bit, hopefully give you some examples and give you some ideas of, it's okay to have a friend or to befriend somebody who has that kind of a diagnosis, that they're normal people, and that, they're not dangerous. Most of the time they're perfectly okay. So I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day, whatever it is that you're doing, and I will see you again soon.